Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I'll bring to you Grotmas Day 17, later than everybody else. Probably. Um, I've looked through it, and you probably have seen everybody else's opinion of this already. So I'll say this now. First off, it was a little bit telling when the best picture they had was using out-of-date Tyrannage models by quite a minute for the picture. But beyond that, I am not a Votann player, so there's that. And also, everybody else has told you what went wrong. I can't tell you what went right per se, but I don't think you need me to also say all the things that went wrong. So I am going to get it out the way and just go, it's very, very tame, very milk toast, lukewarm. It's I think that's the problem where you take an army that would need something else and give it very tame rules. It continues to be very tame. I think if anything this will be a GW experiment on how long they can keep a specific army at 50% win rate almost on the dot. I'm pretty sure it's still around there. So yeah, I feel bad that it's not more exciting for you Votann players, but I am very ready for you all to be like, look, I'm just trying anything new at this point, and there might be something really fun to do. I have a couple of data sheets that I want to discuss because I think they might do something here, but not necessarily because I think it's going to be the game winning the way to win the game per se. So yeah, if you are new around here and wondering where everybody is finding the rules for all of these Grotmas things, Warhammer community downloads, Grotmas detachments, bam. Keep putting that in these videos because, I've seen enough people go, where are people seeing this? So might as well have at least one video to show the way. Into Hearthband. Methodical Annihilation. It's a pretty dope name for an okay rule. Each time a Votann model from your army makes an attack with a weapon that isn't blast, that targets the closest eligible target or a target that is within engagement range of that model's unit. Reroll hit rolls of 1, and if it is a call, Einhir Hearthguard or Uthar the Destined unit improve the AP characteristic of that attack by 1. I'm assuming that this will be one of the shorter videos out of Grotmas from me because, well, it's one of the shorter videos. Nah, I'm joking. Didn't mean to do that one. But there's like 10 models in the range. I don't really know Votann enough to give great advice, and everything here is very straightforward. So, probably going to be a bit quick. I don't do that as a way to not give more in depth insight from an outsider, but just, I don't know if there's much to say. So, if you have details to provide on this, please add it in the comments. We're going on to the enhancements. Bastion Shield for 25 points. Votann model only. Each time a ranged attack targets the bearer's unit, if that attacking model is within a foot of the bearer's unit, worsen the AP characteristic of that attack by 1. For 25 points, pretty nice. Quake Multi-Generator for 15 points. Call model only. In your shooting phase, after the bearer has shot, select one enemy unit hit by those attacks. They are suppressed, meaning that you subtract 1 from their hit roll when they want to make an attack. For 15 points, also probably decent. Don't think this is an auto take, but a decent points filler. Iron Skyn, I believe. Or is it like Iron Sheehan? I don't know. 10 points. Add 2 to the bearer's wounds characteristic. For 10, I feel that's not. I feel like that's a slap in the face a little bit. It's just like, why? Why'd you do that for 10? There was other things you could do. High call. 30 points. 4 up feel, 4 up, 4 up fight on death for a call model only unit. It don't think it needed to be 30 points if I'm being honest. Going on to the stratagems. Brekenats. If you know the correct pronunciation, please let me know. Your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. One call, Uther the Destined or Einhir Hathgard unit from your army that was selected as the target of one or more of the attacking unit's attacks. 4 up invulnerable save. this is both going to be better and worse than Void Armor. Void Armor got caught in the crossfire of the Armor of Contempt changes, where it is until the attacking unit's attacks are done instead of end of the phase. This one will still be end of the phase until the end of the phase for a 4-up and vulnerable save. So really weigh your options onto when you actually need the durability. I think this isn't a pop every time you get shot because you're still Hearthguard, probably -1 to wound anyway, and with some amount of cover, probably don't need to worry about the 4-up at all. But if something like my Exocrine shoots and I've removed cover with a Pirate Vor, fine, fuck it. Go ahead, throw on the 4-up invuln. Unyielding Aggression. Your movement phase just after a Votann infantry unit from your army falls back. Fall back, shoot, and charge. 1 CP. Pretty tame, pretty nice. Sure of Purpose is probably the most exhilarating one because we've seen how much work it can do in Flyblown Host. Sure of Purpose, when your fight phase. A Votann unit from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes a pile in or consolidation move, it can move up to 6 inches instead of up to 3. This, I think, gives hope on this detachment more than first inclined to believe. This is a very strong stratagem for 1 CP, and having decent transports to deliver decent units for it will kind of make or break. For example, it's strong in Flyblown Host, but you don't necessarily have infantry that are safely getting to targets because you don't necessarily want too many rhinos in that detachment. The deep strike is still a deep strike. It's not necessarily the end all be all. However, I think with Sure of Purpose, because it's one Votann unit, that doesn't even restrict you to Hearthguard. I feel that going back to Sagittar spam and Hecaton Land Fortress spam, I guess, will be the defining way to play for this detachment, which is a bit odd considering there's no support for it, but that's just my early guesstimation. Materialization matrices. Reinforcement step of your movement phase. A Votann unit that's in reserves and has deep strike. 6-inch deep strike. Fine. Superior craftsmanship is one that I don't feel needs to be 2 CP. During the fight phase, one Votann unit from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets a monster or vehicle unit, add 1 to the damage characteristic of that attack. Probably needed to be +1 to wound also for me to care about 2 CP worth for the fight phase using Votann. I think it needs to have a side grade to judgment tokens if you're going to ask me for 2 CP compared to, or maybe reroll wounds on top of that. Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe you quote unquote judge a target. I don't know. It needs to be another way of effectively delivering the +1 damage, in my opinion, for it to be worth 2 CP. Worth 2 CP. Yeah. Fury of the Hearth. Your shooting phase for 1 CP. Einherjar Hearthguard gets rapid fire 1 except for on their blast weapon. Um I get that they couldn't do sustained again because they did it over an oath band, but it probably could have been lethal or dev wounds. Could have been something else. Don't know why rapid fire 1 is what they went with, but they did. So yeah, it's very, if this wasn't written for Votann, it would probably be cracked for somebody else. But because it's Votann, I do feel a bit bad for you all Votann lovers that it's very milk toast. I'm assuming your codex will have a great reason for why this is so middle of the road, but It's very middle of the road. And to wait over a year, I can understand the frustration. So yeah. Going on to the data sheets, though, I did want to highlight a couple of things. First, it's about the Hearthguard, and I think point blank period, you're dropping the Weave Field Crest and just making everything teleport crest. So you can deep strike, and then if you really need a 4-up invulnerable save, pop 1 CP for it in the word that I definitely butchered. So that seems like a no-brainer. Just wanted to highlight that too. But the one that I think I'm more convinced about is the Hecaton Land Fortress. In your shooting phase, after this model has shot, select one enemy unit to score one or more hits against this phase. Until the end of the phase, each time a friendly model that disembarked from this transport that makes an attack that targets the enemy unit, you can re-roll the wound roll. This is a decent way to transport your Hearthguard, your Exo Armor models, and there's things like conversion for sustained hits D3 and sustained hits 1, sustained hits D3, and a detachment that, as long as it's the closest eligible target, any model is going to get the reroll hit rolls of 1. So while you won't be getting the increased AP, you're getting the increased reroll hit rolls of 1, and then going to the land fortress, if you just dump them out of a land fortress, reroll hit rolls of 1, reroll wound rolls, probably +1 to the AP. And if it is Judge token, well, +1 to hit. So I think that's what they were going for. Maybe if it's 2, it's +1 to hit, +1 to wound, +1 AP, reroll hit roll, reroll wound roll. That's my guess as to what they were going for here. And it doesn't look like a terrible strategy to get there. But I don't know. It just, who knows? We'll have to see. We will have to see. And then, you get delivered, pile and consolidate in another phase, right? So that's where I believe they were shooting for. And if it is becomes a very elite army, which is already weird to say given there's like 10 ish, 13, like 13 models in the range. I don't know. This feels a bit off. So the list, I'm assuming, yeah, that scares me now that I think about it a little bit. So maybe it's not too bad. But from what I'm hearing from all the Votann players is that you really need judgment tokens and a way to generate CP like this. So I don't know. That's my lob. Do more hecatons. But that's always my suggestion for Votann apparently. Also, the Brocure Iron Master, but with the Thunderkin. Give them +1 to hit for ranged attacks. Reroll those hits. And fire Overwatch on 5s. Again, rerolling hits. Pretty simple. Conversion, Beamer for sustained hits D3. You can still make use of the detachment rule. Probably won't have access to this. Probably don't want to use that for this. But maybe fallback shooting charge over here becomes a little bit better. With a Thunderkin. Mainly probably just want the fallback and shoot if we're being honest out of this situation. But, I think that's probably the angle. Probably put Sagittars for 1 or 2 squads of Brocure, Thunderkin, Iron Master combo, a bunch of Exo Armor land fortresses. Will it be methodical annihilation? Who knows? It'll probably be more of the same, but it is kind of what it is, unfortunately. We will see. I know I keep saying that, but it just feels odd. It feels off that it's so regulated. But hopefully things like Armor of Contempt nerfs and the rest of the meta game changes enough that maybe Votann have a day in the sun. I will say I'm not looking forward to boosted Armor of Contempt. Oath of Moment. So that might pop a land raider, land fortress or two. Goodness, I am just flubbing that. But yeah, we'll have to see what else shapes up. So if you like the video, like it. Got a comment for me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.